Okay everyone, the learning target for this video is I can graph quadratic functions. And we're just going to preview this lesson a little bit because tomorrow I want to spend less time doing examples and more time for you practicing class. So that's why I've asked you to watch this video. And we're going to talk about more of where do we use quadratic functions in the real world tomorrow at the beginning of class. So right now, so far this year, of course we work with quadratic functions. Quadratic functions are functions that have degrees in which the highest degree is 2. So that's how you know something is quadratic. Now, up to this point, we've been graphing them by using transformations. But now we're going to talk about how we can graph them another way, okay, using intercepts and vertex, okay? So, for instance, we have this in standard form. To graph in standard form, we're going to talk about these things that play a role in graphing them. Okay, in standard form, the number in front of your x squared we all know is your a value. The number in front of your x is your b, and then you have your constant. Your parabola opens like this if your a value is greater than 0. And your parabola opens downward like this if your a value is less than 0. Okay? The southernmost point or the northernmost point is called the vertex. We've already talked about that as well this year. Now, we haven't talked about this formula since you probably haven't seen this formula since last year, but this is the formula for finding the vertex. Remember, the vertex is a point. So, to find the x value is negative b over 2a. And once you find that value, you plug the x value in to find the y value. So that's why it looks like that. So x value, then plug the x value in to get the y. Alright, now, to find the x-intercepts of the graph, and you know x-intercepts, another word for x-intercept are zeros or roots. You let y equal 0 and solve. I made a misprint here. That should be an x and solve for x. Alright. Let x equal 0. That is how you find the y-intercept. Teach you a little trick. Your y-intercept is always your c value there. Okay. Let x equal 0 and solve once again. Mark out that x and put y. It's opposite of what you think. If you solve for x, you let y be 0. If you find in y, you let x be 0. And then we graph these points, and then you help use symmetry to find other points, okay? The minimum amount of points I'm going to allow is 3 points on these, okay? But you can have more than 3. Sometimes there are more than 3, okay? Now, so right here on number 1, we want to find the vertex. Well, to find the vertex, let's find our x value. X equals negative b over 2a. Let's label. Our a is what in this case? Negative 1. Our b is 4, and our c is 0. So x equals, b is 4. Opposite of b is negative 4 times 2 times negative 1. So negative 4 over negative 2 is 2. Now I have my x value, I'm plugging in to find my y value. Y equals, remember that's a negative 1 right there, so I got negative 1 times 2 squared plus 4 times 2. Y equals negative 1, 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 plus 8 is 4. So my vertex would be 2, 4. And since my a is negative, I know it's going to be opening downward. Opening downward. Now, to find my x-intercepts, now realize f of x is another way of writing y. So y equals negative x squared plus 4x. To find my x-intercepts, I'm going to plug 0 in for y. Now that's a quadratic, so I'm going to try to use factoring. I can take out a negative x. That leaves an x minus 4. So set negative x equals 0, x minus 4 equal to 0. We get x equals 0, x equals 4. So I found my x-intercepts. Remember, your y-intercept is always your c value. Well, my c value is 0, so y equals 0. That's where it crosses the y-axis. Now I have my information to start graphing this parabola. Now, because this is shaped on a resulting parabola, so I'm graphing this quadratic function. Now, you can use this graph, or you can get you some other graph paper. You like the other better. Alright, so my vertex is 2, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. My x-intercept is 0 and 4. Alright, my y-intercept is 0 as well, isn't it? So now I am just going to literally connect the dots. And that is I have 3 points. That's the minimum I can have. And I'm going to show you when you would have 5 points, but that's the case of 3. I graph my vertex, my intercepts, and that's what I got. Okay? Alright, let's look at number 2. Oh, don't forget, we're going to do domain and range. Domain, start from left, it's all real numbers. Range would be from negative infinity to 1, 2, 3, 4. Bracket. Alright, let's look at number 2. Let's label our A, our B, and our C. Our A is 1, our B is 8, our C is 16. I'm going to find my vertex first. X equals negative B over 2A. Opposite of B is negative 8. 2 times 1. X equals negative 4. So that's my X coordinate, my vertex. Now I've got to find my Y. So I'm going to plug this back in. Gives me 16 minus 32 plus 16, which is equal to 0. So my vertex is negative 4, 0. Make sure you label that. Now I'm going to find my x-intercepts. I'm going to say x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals, to find x-intercept, you put 0 in for y. Well, now I have a quadratic equation. I know to factor that. That's be x plus 4, x plus 4. Both parentheses have the same thing in it, so you just need to write x equals negative 4. Your y-intercept is always your c value. That's 16. So my y-intercept is 16. I'm going to draw a graph. My vertex is negative 4, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that also happens to be my x-intercept. My x-intercept. So that took care of both of those right there. My y-intercepts, I've taken care of this. I've graphed this, and I've graphed this. So now I'm doing y equals 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Alright. So, you said, Mr. Fisher, you said minimum of 3 points. Yes. Okay. This is your vertex. That's going to be the southernmost point. But if you have a point up here, you have to have another point. So if this is my axis of symmetry, watch this. My axis of symmetry. That's the thing the parabola folds over. This thing is 1, 2, 3, 4 away. We got to have a 4 away on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now I have 3. So any point besides the vertex has to have another point. Like this point had to have another point because it's symmetric. Okay? This point, this point. This one doesn't because it's the vertex. So now I'm going to draw my graph. And I notice I'm going to go open up because your A is a positive value. Okay, we're going to do one more. All right, let's identify our A, B, and C. On number 3, A is 1, B is 4, C is negative 12. Oh, let's go back to domain and range. Oops, I keep forgetting that domain and range. What's my domain here? All real numbers. And my range would be bracket 0 to infinity. Always do domain and range. Alright, so on number 3, we want to find our vertex. X equals negative b over 2a. X equals negative 4 over 2 times 1. X equals negative 2. Now, I'm going to go back and find the y value, f of negative 2. And that gives me negative 16. So my vertex is negative 2, negative 16. Alright, x-intercepts. Plug 0 in for y. Factor. X plus 6, x minus 2, x equals negative 6, x equals 2. That's where it crosses the x-axis. Your y-intercept is always your c value, y equals negative 12. Alright, I'm going to graph my vertex. Negative 2, 16. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Negative 2, 16. My x-intercepts is negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And x-intercept of 2. So those points are symmetric. Okay, my y-intercept is negative 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, so I have 4 points. Remember, these you have a matching one for this one and this one right here. So if my axis of symmetry is going right here, this is 2 away. It's going to be 2 away on the other side. So now I have my 5 points. And there's my graph. I had to find a friend with this point here. So I went, if this is 2 away from the axis of symmetry, it's going to be 2 away on the other side. So those are my points. We're going to wait and do this one tomorrow in class. But just review these 3 and then we're going to continue on with that tomorrow. Domain, all real numbers, range would be from negative 16 to infinity. Negative 16 on. Okay. All right. Thank you.